Hello, lovely people. I am back and I'm super excited for today's topic because it's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I have also actually gotten my camera out and it even has a microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better. So yeah, today we're talking about email marketing and pretty much the whole content aspect of email marketing as well. And I actually need to start this whole entire video with a complete confession. I have been kicking and screaming when it comes to introducing email marketing. Back in early 2018, 2019, I would say it's good to have a newsletter or subscribers to occasionally send out newsletters to, but don't spend too much time on it. But the reason I felt this way was mostly because I worked in, previously when I was a designer outside of Summer Street Creative, I worked with large companies that would basically have this massive subscriber list and these, they'd put out these big advertisement campaigns and it was just like advertisement after advertisement. And when I actually looked at the analytics behind those campaigns, it shocked me. Like, I was looking at it and there'd be things like the open rate was super low, and just again the overall numbers were super abysmal. So I came at it with the opinion on that perspective where, oh, it doesn't actually help anything. And yeah, they did get a couple clicks, but for how much effort it took to do the campaign and the creative that we had to put together and just the time versus money spent, but that was for really large companies that have a huge following already as it is a product-based business. But honestly, it wasn't until I started working with a couple more marketers or even just chatted with more people in the industry, and even just falling for a couple email campaigns myself, that I realized that there's this huge missed opportunity when it comes to email marketing. And the thing is, I decided to just jump into it, and I am actually in love with email marketing now. I personally have let, don't judge me, Summer Street Creative kind of go to the side when it comes to campaigns, but I have been helping other companies with their campaigns and also helping them create the freebies, and it's just been so much fun. Again, it's a whole entire different process to get different kinds of leads and build those relationships when it comes to branding, which, if you guys know me, I'm always talking about those relationships and creating those relationships. So I have decided to kind of deconstruct this talk a little bit, and kind of do some things in list form, because that's the thing, this is a really heavy topic. I can literally go on for hours, but I want to give you guys as much information as possible that you can actually take now. And if you have any other questions, again, you can always contact me. Probably hearing my dog go down the stairs. I apologize. I really should have closed the door. That is my mistake. But anyways, let's just get started with this. So the first thing that is first, you're going to have to actually sign up for an email marketing platform. And the thing is, there's so many platforms out there. I thought that there was just maybe three. There's three big ones out there. But honestly, there's so many different email marketing platforms, and there's even some that are very industry specific. So for example, I'm working with some coaches currently, and they use something called Kajabi, where they kind of connect, but again, it adds on, so there's other elements to it. But then there's other ones that are very simple, that are big industry leaders, such as MailChimp and whatnot. So I do suggest to actually take your time and really evaluate what platform best suits your brand and your business. So for example, when I was first starting my email marketing for Summer Street, even though it's collected dust lately, I really just went for the first recommendation, which was MailChimp, and it is still one of the bigger leaders in email marketing. And the only reason why is because people kept recommending it to me at the time, because I only had, I think it was 100 subscribers at the time, and I didn't want to pay ridiculous amounts. Like, I think it was, the lowest I could find was $20 a month, and I'm just, for me, it didn't seem like it connected right away. So I believe, I still think it's that way, but I'm pretty sure MailChimp, you can get 1,000 subscribers free, and then after that you have to do the paying portion. So again, price might be a big issue for you as well, because that's the thing, as we start building our businesses, you'll notice that there's a subscription for every single thing. There's a subscription for your accounting, there's a subscription for Zapier, there's a subscription for this and that, right? And email marketing is just another one. So that's something to consider, especially if you're just kind of dipping your toes in the email marketing game. It might not be a bad idea to look at maybe if some of them have some free portions to it as well. So another thing too, after you've chosen the platform that you want to host most of your email campaigns on, you're probably going to want to also have a website with an actual email that uses your domain after the @ So for example, info@yourwebsite.com. It isn't necessary, and I've seen people build campaigns without any website, but just like a Facebook page, for example. But it's just another way to seem a little bit more legit to your customers, and again, just building the foundation of trust, if you will. Plus, having a website is another great way to actually promote, to get more subscribers to sign up to your email newsletter anyways. Now, a few things on this before we get into how to get people to sign up to your newsletter or email subscription is I would definitely include a freebie. Right? People aren't usually willing to give out their email all willy-nilly, unfortunately. So if you give them something, chances are they'll give you something back. You may get a few people that are there literally just for the freebie. They'll take your content and then unsubscribe a week later. But that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, especially if you say out of that one you get 3 or out of the 4 that unsubscribe, you get 2 that are like high paying customers or people that are pretty much on the edge of ready to purchase your product or service type of thing. So again, it's all about building that relationships with your customers for down the line. It's the thing, you want to invest, if you want them to invest in your product or service, you gotta make sure that you're offering content that makes them want to come back. Again, it's about the long-term game with email marketing, not the short game. #sports. Not that I know sports. A second thing too is I would be cautious if you're putting it on your website and avoiding those like pop-ups. So like the in your face, sign up now for our newsletter and get this freebie, and it has like that tiny little exits button, and some people can't even find it. Sometimes they hide it. Those are really annoying. They annoy people. I know they annoy me when I go onto websites. Do they annoy you? Let me know. But honestly, I can also confirm it analytically. Just a short story. When I first initially did my freebie for Summer Street Creative, when I first opened up, I noticed in my analytics it was a rough go. So before the pop-up, my website was doing pretty good considering I was still new. I introduced the pop-up and my analytics went severely down. Like, it was really bad. So I took that pop-up off like right away, and sure enough, my analytics went back up and my average time was much better. People actually stayed on my website a little bit longer, and instead I kind of moved it to inside my blog posts. I even tried the little bar at the top of my website. that one was actually really good too. I just found it didn't have as much traction, but again, I don't really do email marketing for my business anymore. I am going to be, but just a little caveat that I did notice analytic wise that it's a no-go. And just to digress a little bit, that's another reason why having analytics set up and actually looking at your analytics can be really, really huge. Because again, we want to see what the end user is doing and how can you improve your website, because your website is never done whenever you first create it. You should always be editing, but I digress. I can go on for hours when it comes to analytics. But anyways, so the freebie that I'm talking about, the freebie. There is a lot of like psychological, sciencey reasons as to why freebies work, but to put it in like really simple terms, people like free stuff. I like free stuff. Do you like free stuff? I know I like free stuff. Your freebie or your handout or even a webinar or free class, whatever something free you give, is an opportunity to not only to not only have your ideal client or customer see a glimpse into your offerings, but it's also a way that you can position yourself as the I know what I'm talking about person, aka the expert. It's literally just building that trust and that relationship that if said person were to invest in your product or service, that they will have full confidence in the end result of that product. Again, your brand is just your promise to your customer, right? When you are starting to concept your freebie, think about your customers. And you guys are probably gonna think I'm a broken record, but go to your customer profiles, go to them stat. What is their pain point? Is there a common pain point across all of your customer profiles? And when you see that common pain point, lean into it. Now, you don't want to lead with fear, never lead with fear, but instead reposition that pain point into an unasked solution to their pain point. So what I mean by that, I'll just do an example. So for example, let's say you have a yoga business and it focuses only on prenatal yoga. Let's say the biggest pain point you found in your customer profiles is that your customers don't really understand what prenatal yoga is and how it could actually benefit them through their pregnancy anyway. An idea for a possible freebie is maybe prenatal yoga, breathing through morning sickness. I don't know if that's actually something that can be done. I've never been pregnant, so I don't really know, but that's just a freebie idea. I don't know. Or you could even, another idea is even offering maybe a free class online where at the end you say subscribe to my newsletter for a certain % off of your subscription for the rest of your trimester, for example. Again, this is offering a solution to how prenatal yoga could help them through their pregnancy. And again, their chances are, especially if someone had already done yoga and was into prenatal yoga, like, again, it's just a way for people to be aware that you know what you're talking about. It's a place where you can literally say, I know what I'm talking about. Let me show you a little glimpse into what I know what I'm talking about, right? So that's the thing. You can get really creative with it. I've seen some really creative freebies, some that I don't even it's not a big problem in my life, but I still sign up for them because I am intrigued about what it looks like. So again, I have to tell you guys a story because that's how I say my examples, but I actually signed up for a how to do SEO as a wedding business. A, I'm not in the wedding businesses, and B, I know pretty basic SEO, but I was still curious as to how that person was talking about it. Sure, I'm not going to be a client that they're looking for, but at the same time, I do know some people that are in the wedding industry that I could be like, hey, did you check out this cool SEO thing? Right? Like it's very interesting. Get creative with it. And if at all possible, try to niche it as much as possible to your business. But yeah, try not to also copy what's already out there. Alternatively, think, how can I make this better and more in line with my ideal customer? Again, you kind of want to be a trend setter, not a trend follower, right? Because that's the thing, there's already a lot of freebies out there, and you want to make sure that you're not competing with those freebies that are already out there. Try to be a little bit different. Really though, like the biggest thing is you want to create a freebie that they can't say no to. One that they just have to put their email in. Because again, people don't really like their inboxes full. Like, I know I hate when I always have to go into my email and delete or unsubscribe to a bunch of emails. People are more cautious with who they're letting into their email subscription. So make it worth it. So once you have determined what you're going to be writing about, then you basically just have to get down to creating the copy. And again, always make sure that you're looking at the end result of it of, okay, is this verbiage, the tone that I'm speaking, is it aligned with my brand? Is it aligned with what my customers are looking for? Constantly always ask yourself. And don't be afraid to also get people to read through your initial first draft as well and say, would this be something that you would put your email into? Especially if you do have, say, a friend that actually aligns with one of your customers. Don't be afraid to ask them, what do they honestly think about it? And then basically what you have to do is just start creating the freebie. Now, you can hire a graphic designer to get this done for you, or you can do it yourself on platforms such as Canva. And I'm sure that there's other ways you can do it as well, but those are my two biggest suggestions. And just to give you some tips on creating your freebie. Again, I'm going to be making this a blog post as well, so you can also go back on those tips as well. I will be doing them in list format. So yeah, so we'll just start with number one. One of my biggest advice is make content that's simple and easy to digest. So what I mean by this is, don't come out with a massive book, right? Nobody wants to read anymore, I swear. So create copy that makes everything very intriguing, something that makes people want to keep flipping through the pages if they print it, or scrolling if they're reading it on their iPads or on their emails. Honestly, some of the highest performing handouts are usually worksheet style or checkbox style, something that's easy and tangible for people to actually manually do. If you aren't doing a worksheet style, you could also just do content that is in list format. Again, lists are just great. People love to consume lists because they can just take the title, see if it applies, and just read if they need to. People are more inclined to consume that format as well. Actually, just to kind of show you, when I first started, I wanted to create some freebies, and I got a couple different ideas, and one of them was this little one. She even put her image right there, which you totally can too, but see how like simple the formatting is of this? She has it, so hers was about content and SEO for your website, and it's cool because there's actually a checkbox that you could go to every time you put a blog post up, and it's quite useful if like you're new to SEO. And again, she was trying to get people to sign up to her class on how to create content that is SEO focused for your blog. So, and even I felt like I was inclined to do it. I knew the stuff, but again, like it's building that interaction and that trust with your brand. The dog is back, I'm sorry. I really should close the door. Oh goodness. But yeah. So this is just an example, and like that's the thing, go on Pinterest, sign up for some email subscriptions too, even it, like, especially if they align with what you're currently trying to learn, sign up for them and see what other people are doing. Like, have fun with it. Like, try not to overthink it too. Make it simple. I think that's the biggest thing I could say. So the second biggest tip is, if you can, try to put a lot of imagery that the end user will associate with. Again, branding is all about that subconscious feeling that you're giving to your end user. So if you've already have like a style of photos, or kind of what direction you want your photos to go in, try to make sure that those photos are in line with the content. So for example, if you're talking about weight loss and food, you're probably going to put people eating or exercising because it's in line with what the content is talking about. You don't want to put random photos that don't make any sense. And yeah, make sure that whatever photos you use, it's consistent with your brand identity. And again, like if you're going back to that mood board, does it still align with that identity? And again, try to put as many photos to break up some of that text content. Because again, we don't like to read massive paragraphs. So the third thing is, you want to, well, speaking of consistency, you want to make sure that your brand identity is consistently displayed as well. So again, I know you're probably going to get tired of this, but make sure that like your fonts are consistent, the colors that you're using are consistent. Even if you do like a simple button, make sure that button aligns with the button that you use on your website, for example. Your links, if your links are a certain color on your website, make sure that it's the same link color in your email. Again, these are little touches, but when people are interacting with your brand, it's just another way that they can build that trust, and it makes you look like you got your shit together too if you have all of these in a row. So the fourth thing is to have a call to action at the end. There's no point in creating this beautiful freebie and spending time creating this freebie if you don't have a simple call to action at the end. Now, the reason why I say simple is you don't want to just say, here's this service, this service, this service, sign up here, sign up here, sign up here. Have one call to action that is tangible and not at a really, really high price point. So what I say about this is, so for example, if you are creating a freebie that is about, let's say it's a weight loss freebie and it's about calorie counting. Don't believe in calorie counting, but I digress. Say it's about calorie counting, and you go through the whole entire thing. People are really jazzed about it. They reach the end. If you put a call to action, like sign up for only an extra $15 and get this whole entire other free guide, or have an ask that's a little bit smaller. So like, for example, another example, if I were to be promoting a website, I would offer a website one-on-one free consultation, even just so that we could get the ball rolling on what they envisioned for their website and how I could help them the other ways, right? It's all about having, like, there's no point in having a freebie if you don't have some kind of call to action. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily be a cost call to action. It could even just be visit our website today for more information. Have some kind of call to action so that people don't just consume the content and then forget about it, right? Tip number 5 is, I would honestly try, if you can, make it editable. I always suck with that word, I don't know why. Make it editable, or make sure that the links that are in your PDF are actually clickable links. Now, you may have to hire an actual graphic designer for this because you can create that programming. Another tip number 6 is compress the PDF if you can. Nobody likes to get large ass files. Let's just be real here. Tip number 7, make sure that your title page is compelling AF, especially if you are doing, say, like a mock-up or like a sneak peek of your offering or your freebie, it's always nice to have a title page that, like your landing page or the main image of your website, is compelling to the end user, that speaks to the end user. If you are showcasing that title. If you're not, you probably could get away with it. But usually people are more inclined to sign up to an email subscription for a freebie if they actually see what the freebie looks like. And tip number 8, again, keep it simple. I know it's the same as the first one, but it may be tempting to add all the bells and whistles, selling points, adding all your offerings, pretty much whatever is on your website onto the freebie. But again, you have to think, is this freebie actually helpful? Is the actual end person going to get something out of it? Don't create a freebie just so that you could create something, right? Actually think, is this useful? Does it align? Will people want more from this is the biggest thing. And a bonus tip, when it comes to when you're starting with a freebie, just start with one, especially if you are a newer company. So you can create a whole bunch of different kinds of freebies and create different subscriber sets and categories for your subscribers. So you can send very curated content for those people. We can get into that a whole different day. But to be honest, just start simple. Once you start building up your relationships and your business, you can start socially listening to what your clients and customers are saying, and they could also be voicing an issue that may have been missed in your customer discovery or customer avatars. And then that way you can feel more confident in building a freebie that is actually aligned with questions or concerns that you can answer their problem with, right? So I would definitely just start with one, if you can. And then go out with a couple more, but just start with one. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't give yourself more work if you don't need to, right? So we continue. You have got your handout all created. You're ready to launch it out to the world. But where do you launch it? So again, this is all going to be list format in the blog post, but for here as well, the first thing that you're going to do, you're probably going to want to put it on your website. You can create either a blog post that talks more about the freebie or alludes to the freebie, and then have it in the bottom section as a call to action. Do you want more information on this? Subscribe today. You could have it again on that little bar at the top of your website. You could try the pop-up, but again, I would A/B test it or look at your analytics if you are going to do that. And really just test it and think, if I was looking at a website, how would I like to be asked to sign up for a newsletter, for example? The second place that you're going to want to promote your freebie is on your business's social medias, of course. This also includes probably your LinkedIn, your personal LinkedIn that has collected dust. Again, you're going to want to share it with where your customers are, and also with people that are already following you too. It's a great way for them to get even more into your product or service. So the third thing is you're going to want to go on Pinterest. I know it's a social media, but it's a little bit different, and honestly, Pinterest deserves its own. All right, I think I'm back. I also closed my door this time so my pets won't come in. Sorry, it looks like my camera's battery decided to die. So that was unfortunate. But anyways, let's just get back to it. So I believe I was on tip number 3 in where to get people to sign up to your newsletter. So number 3 is Pinterest. And like I'm saying, Pinterest deserves its own talk, and I do plan to do a full-on blog post and video solely on Pinterest. And the reason why I'm taking it outside of the other social media is that it is very different because it reaches a whole different kind of a whole entire different kind of customer base, because again, people, it's a very interesting platform, especially if you have a freebie, and the fact that you can link it straight to your website is huge, and people are already looking for content such as that. I know I've gotten a lot of my clients that are outside of Canada through Pinterest. And again, it reaches people outside of your location, unlike Facebook, where it's very much your location. So especially if like you're a service-based business, I find those freebies do like really good on Pinterest. But yeah, if you can, try to be on Pinterest if you can. If it doesn't align with your business, so then maybe don't worry about it. But yeah, Pinterest is another great tool to get your freebie out there. Another one, so tip number 4, is to actually send an email, but not through your MailChimp or whatever email platform you end up using, but to people that you're already interacting with in your business. So for example, if you already have a couple customers that you're already working with currently, you can say, hey, I'm creating a freebie. Would you like to be added to my email list, for example? It's also easier to ask people, because for the most part, people don't usually like to say no. But again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to pressure them into your freebie, but it's another way that you can get your freebie out there and get subscribers. Because that's the thing too, which I didn't put in my notes, but I'm going to definitely touch upon in the blog post. You're going to want to make sure that people are actually signing up for your email subscription. Don't just put people that you have worked with in the past, or even people that you found their email through. It's actually illegal to just put in like someone's email without actually getting their approval first. I know a lot of companies get into hot water because they buy email subscriptions and then they, so when in doubt, just make sure that you get the approval and that people are willing to give their email. And also it's good common sense, because again, it nothing says distrust like someone putting in your email when you didn't ask for it. I know we all get these spams of people asking if I need SEO services on my website, and people don't like that stuff, right? And the 5th tip that I would use to get your email, your freebie out there and for more email subscribers, is post it in your Facebook groups, if you're part of any Facebook groups that align with what you're talking about, or the communities that you're already a part of. It's so much easier to say, hey, I'm offering this free resource, sign up today, right? And the nice thing too is if you've already kind of established relationships in that community, but you haven't really promoted your business, it might be a good tool to really get your freebie out there and get more email subscribers. So you've gotten your freebie created, or you've gotten your email marketing platform picked, you got your freebie created, you've already started promoting it, you're starting to get some subscribers in. Now is the fun part. You're gonna have to create the content. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh gosh, okay, so I already created the freebie, now what? And the thing is, even if you just have, say, 10 subscribers, try to create a consistent content schedule and a method that you can commit to constantly giving out email newsletters. You don't want to go with like promo after promo or buy. Chances are people will get really annoyed and unsubscribe, right? And we don't want people unsubscribing. Instead, you want to create content that the end user will actually want to open and actually want to read. This is a great place to showcase announcements. You can put links to your blog posts or your latest video or podcasts. You can offer some quick advice, or even just to ask what you want, ooh, tongue twister. Even just to ask what they want to see from your business. Because the thing is, when you're thinking about your email marketing and your email marketing campaigns, is your email marketing should be 70 to 80% content for the user, and the remaining 20 to 30% being calls to actions for either purchasing a service or a product in your business, right? You don't want to make your email newsletter just be sell, sell, sell. People will unsubscribe, right? Again, your newsletter is just another way to build trust with your brand. It's about building that relationship. It's also about positioning yourself as the expert, the go-to for this. And always, again, it's a way to also be on mind for some people that are possibly not ready to purchase your product or service, but they may know someone else that needs to purchase that product or service, right? So again, newsletters are just for the long-term gain, not the short game. So again, some more tips on creating the newsletters. First and foremost, just like creating the freebie, keep it simple. Try not to put too much graphics in your newsletter. I know it's probably super tempting because most of these platforms come with these like super graphic templates and layouts that look really cool and animations. But think about it. Whenever you get these kinds of emails, doesn't it feel kind of like a advertisement or it feels like an advertisement more so than anything, or a commercial when you get these kinds of things. And the thing is, people don't really want to read into those kinds of things. There's just gonna be some people. Those kinds of email campaigns really work if you're a product-based business that already has an established brand. Because again, like if you already have people that really like your brand and you say, hey, 20% off summer clothes today, chances are you are going to get people that are going to click those links. But when you're building that trust and you're a new business, you're going to want to think of keeping it very personal. Try doing the human connection. It has been said that statistically speaking, whenever people do emails that are actually just regular, like you would send an email to a friend, those have more of an open rate. They have more of a, not a right away close rate. And again, try to be a person. People want that human connection. So maybe you can add like a GIF if that's part of your brand. You could maybe add a couple images if it kind of conveys breaks up the text a little bit. But again, just keep it really simple. And then when you are doing your calls to action posts, then you could have at the bottom a simple little call to action. It could be a graphic, but again, keep the graphics to a minimum. You don't want to overdo it. And it's also kind of nice, so then you don't have to worry about building this massive campaign and taking time and creating all this stuff. You just create the copy, maybe insert a couple images, a couple GIFs, and that's done. And if you are wanting to do the templates, that's cool too, but just know that there's a chance that it might not do as well. But again, test it. Maybe it works for your customers. The second thing, like I was saying, have a schedule and be consistent with it. I know if you have followed my email subscription in the past, I completely don't do them anymore, but to be honest, I don't even do my blog posts as much anymore. I am trying to obviously get back into it now. But the thing is too, it's a big commitment, right? And you have to realize that they are a commitment. So I've seen people that just do it once a week if they can. I've also seen some people do it once a month. So it kind of try to be as consistent as possible, just like with your social media, just with like any touch point in your brand, try to be as consistent as possible. I swear I need to make like a consistent shirt. I think I might actually do that one day and make it a swag. I don't know. The third tip is, as you develop more freebies, like if you are going to keep developing freebies, occasionally send those freebies to people that are already subscribed as kind of an extra little bonus. Not only does it feel nice to get random freebies and random gifts, it's nice, right? Especially if they haven't asked for it. It's really, really nice, because nothing's worse than seeing that you're offering a different freebie and saying, I really wish I had that checklist, right? And again, it's building that trust, building that relationship. The fourth thing is make sure all your links are working. Seriously, test it out. If I had $1 for every time I went on to an email, actually was ready to purchase something or sign up for something, and the link was broken or not even properly linked, it's not good. And people aren't going to go out of their way to search it. So whatever you do, test every single thing just like you would test every single part of your website. Test it out, test, right? Number 5, last point, is make sure the content in the email has an actual purpose. Again, it does help your brands, like you have to think, like, does it help your brand's messaging? Does it still position your brand as the go-to in your field or service, right? I have seen a lot of email marketings where it's just literally random stuff. It's, oh, today my dog did this. People probably don't care about it, like, right? Like, with the thing, as humans, we care about ourselves more than other people's problems. It's okay to lean into like a story and then kind of bring it back to how is this helping that end user, but you don't want to just go on there, like, yes, talk with them like they're your friend, but also don't talk with them like they're your friend. They're still the client or customer at the end of the day, right? So, to be perfectly honest, I could go on for ages about email marketing, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of points. And if you want, I am planning or hoping to possibly do a video on actually creating campaigns that also include a little bit of email marketing. So like the actual brand process of creating like leads. Let me know down below or in direct messages if that's something that you are looking to know more about, and if so, if you have any questions on those, to see if I can hopefully answer your questions on those. But these are literally just a few basic rules, to be perfectly honest. And if you want to book a free consultation, you can go on my website. On the button, you just click free consultation and we could chat a little bit more about it, and I can answer your questions, or you can even just send me a message. Honestly, I don't mind answering them below. But again, these are just a couple basic tips or rules when it comes to starting your email marketing or restarting your email marketing if it's collected dust, kind of like mine. But like, and complete honestly, just have fun with it. This is just another tool to build your relationships with your people. Email marketing is a lot of work. It really is a lot of work, and it does take a lot of time, but it is definitely a great tool to add to your marketing plan for the long-term gain and to build those relationships, because we all know those relationships are good. But with that being said, guys, that's it for today. If you guys, again, have any questions, please let me know. If you're watching the video on this, there's going to be a blog post. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you are all doing great. Bye.